Imagine you're sitting at a nice steakhouse. You just got that 10% raise you've been grinding for. And for the first time in your life, your tax return says you cleared six figures. You should feel like a king, right? But then you look at your banking app under the table and that familiar cold pit forms in your stomach. Because somehow, after the mortgage, the Audi payment, the daycare, and the organic groceries, you're still left with about 400 bucks at the end of the month. You're making rich person money, but you're living a broke person life. Look, if that's you, don't feel bad, because you've been sold the $100,000 illusion. We've been conditioned to believe that $100,000 is the finish line. But in 2026, it's actually just the entrance fee to a very expensive, very crowded hamster wheel. Here's the thing. The middle class isn't just struggling. It's being systematically liquidated, and most people are too busy scrolling through Zillow to notice their pockets have holes in them. See, the middle class used to mean a house, two cars, three kids, and a pension on a single salary. Now, that same lifestyle requires a household income of nearly $250,000 in most major cities. When we talk about inflation, we usually think about eggs and milk. But the real killer is lifestyle inflation, or what economists call the Duesenberry effect. It's the psychological trap where your consumption isn't based on what you need, but on what the people around you are doing. You get the raise, so you move into the neighborhood where everyone has a manicured lawn and a $1,000 a month SUV. Suddenly, your high salary is being devoured by high expectations. You aren't buying a house. You're buying a ticket to a social competition you can't win. And let's talk about the math, because the math is absolutely brutal. If you earn $100,000, Uncle Sam is going to take his $20,000 to $25,000 right off the top. Then you've got maxed out rent or a mortgage that eats another 30%. By the time you factor in healthcare, which has risen 740% since the 1980s, and the fact that your high-yield savings account is actually losing value against the real rate of inflation, you're basically working 4 months out of the year just to fund a government and a banking system that views you as an interest-bearing asset. It's a magic trick, really. The banks want you right in that $100,000 sweet spot. Why? Because you're wealthy enough to get approved for a massive loan, but too broke to actually own your time. You're the perfect debtor. You're middle-class broke. You have the appearance of wealth without any of the sovereignty. Think about it. If you stopped working tomorrow, how long would that six-figure life last? 2 weeks? A month? That's not wealth. That's a high-velocity treadmill. We've replaced net worth with monthly payment capacity. We don't ask, how much does this cost anymore? We ask, can I afford the monthly payment? This is the trap that keeps the modern professional chained to a desk they hate, buying things they don't have time to use, to impress people who are also secretly terrified of their credit card statements. The surprising reveal here is that the person making $60,000 who lives in a modest apartment and rides a bike is actually richer in terms of freedom than the $150,000 earner with a $6,000 monthly burn rate. One has options, the other has a cage made of gold. If you want to break the illusion, you have to stop playing the game of relative income and start playing the game of net worth. You have to become a wealth stealth operator. This means ignoring the social pressure to upgrade your life every time your salary bumps up. It means realizing that a $100,000 salary in 2026 is actually the equivalent of making about $45,000 in the 1990s once you adjust for the explosion in housing and education costs. You aren't failing. The yardstick just got longer. So, here is the actionable truth. You need to stop funding everyone else's lifestyle and start funding your exit. Your first priority isn't a better car. It's an opportunity fund that gives you the power to say no to a toxic boss or a soul-crushing commute. You need to decouple your self-worth from your zip code. Start tracking your burn rate. That's the total cost to keep you alive and happy for 1 month. A dashboard with a needle pointing to burn rate. The character is adjusting a knob to move the needle from high to low. Look, the system is designed to keep you right where you are. Productive enough to keep the gears turning, but desperate enough to never leave. But once you see the illusion for what it is, it loses its power over you. You don't need a $500,000 house to be happy. You need the freedom to choose how you spend your Tuesday afternoons. Stop being a high-income pauper. Stop buying the lie. Build a life that's smaller than your paycheck so your future can be bigger than your cubicle. You've got the income. Now it's time to get the wealth. Go out there and start owning your life instead of just renting a lifestyle.